Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, and today we are going to do some really awesome upgrades to this made in Mexico Fender Telecaster. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm recording this video the last day of January in 2026 in upstate New York, and it is freaking cold here, hence the hat and the flannel. This hat, actually, some good friends of mine have a cover band called Probably Projecting, and I was at a show there a few weeks ago buying a t-shirt, and my friend's wife upsold me to a hat because I'm bald and it's been freezing here. So this is some merch from a friend's cover band. Great band. If you ever are in upstate New York, try to find them. It has been so cold here. To make matters worse, I was in NAMM last week in California, and it was like 65, 70 degrees in Anaheim. I come back here, it's like -6, and that's without the wind chill. So it is really cold here. You may be wondering, why am I talking about the weather? This was a guitar upgrade video. I know, and this is actually very appropriate that I'm talking about the weather right now. We all know that guitars don't like extreme temperatures, right? They don't like really hot and they don't like really cold. And I can tell you, one of my favorite guitars that I have is this McPherson Sable carbon fiber guitar. This thing is awesome. In the middle of the summer here, when it's 100 degrees, I can leave this thing in the car. Go grab it, bring it inside, plays perfectly. It's in tune. It's great. I can leave this thing in the car when it's -6 out. Bring it in, strum it. It's in tune. This thing is phenomenal. The problem is, usually when I play at church or in my band, I am not playing acoustic, I'm playing electric. And all of my wood electric guitars do not like those extremes. So let's say I'm going to practice, say music practice at church after work. I have to bring all my gear with me and go straight to the church. I have to bring my guitar inside work. I can't leave it out in the summer or the winter. I can't leave it in the car. So it's a pain in the butt. My office is on the 4th floor of this building, and it's just hauling this up and down, and it's a pain, right? We all experience this with guitars that we have. You try to minimize their time in extreme temperatures. I will now talk about this Telecaster that I got. I just got this recently over the holidays. I've never owned a Telecaster. I have quite a few other guitars. I've always struggled with single coil guitars. I've had several Strats over the years and got rid of them. I like my humbuckers. Over the holidays, I was messing around with YouTube, learning some country licks. I've always been a rock player, but I decided to start learning some country licks, and none of my guitars had the twang that I needed to make these country licks sound right. I looked on Reverb, I found this Fender Player 2 made in Mexico Telecaster, and it was in excellent condition. It was used. The guy did say that he had to change the neck on it because the original neck had broke. He got another used neck from somewhere and put it on there, but he said it was all in excellent shape. So I got it, and the body was actually in really good shape. There's hardly a nick on the body. The neck, not so great. The neck had some major chunks in the back that I tried to sand out, but the biggest problem was the frets. There was some fret damage up on like the 14th, 15th frets that I don't know like what would have done this, but there was literally chunks out of the frets. So you'd go to bend a string and it was hanging on these chunks in the frets that were missing. So I have some files and I have a crowning tool, and I tried to work on the frets as best I could, but by the time I could get it down so they bent without any hang, I got the frets pretty low. And I'm thinking, do I need to get like refret this neck, buy another neck? This is turning into a project. Then inspiration hit me. Facebook ads, we all love them, right? I don't know if it just reads your mind or what, but I started seeing ads for Klos, who is a manufacturer of carbon fiber instruments. They make carbon fiber acoustic guitars, and they make mandolins. Now they're making electric guitars. They started making replacement necks for Telecasters and Strats. So I kept seeing all these ads, and I got thinking about where I live. We have extremely hot summers, extremely cold winters. I'm always hauling my guitars to midweek practices, and I have to bring them into the office. What if I took the situation where I had this Telecaster with this neck that I got to do something with, and what if I got a carbon fiber neck? So that way, if I have a practice during the middle of the week, I'll just leave it in the car. It's got a carbon fiber neck, and whether it's summer or winter, It doesn't matter. I started doing a lot of research on their necks and watching a lot of videos. Daryl Braun has a fantastic video. I was out at NAMM. I hadn't pulled the trigger on a neck yet. I went to the booth where Klos Guitars had all their stuff on display. And I started talking to the guy about this Telecaster that I got and the situation with the neck. And he showed me a replacement neck for a tele. The tele and the Strat necks are slightly different just because the way they seat into the body. He let me hold it and play it. Every one of their necks comes pre-plecked. If you don't know what that is, the pleck machine, it scans the entire neck with precision and then shaves off exactly what it needs to make a perfectly playable neck. So I started feeling this carbon fiber neck. And like I said, I love my carbon fiber acoustic that I have. And I asked him if they did any kind of show discount. And he goes, you know what? The one you're holding, he's like, I'd sell that one to you for 150 bucks off. That's fantastic. That's a great discount. Although the one that he had at the show did not have locking tuners. They do recommend to use their locking tuners because of the carbon fiber and make sure everything works just right. I said, well, I'd like to take you up on the deal, the discount for the show. Could you upgrade me to the locking tuners? He said, tell you what, we'll take it back home with us so you don't have to take it on the airplane with you, and we'll ship it back to you with locking tuners. That's great. Let's do it. So we ended up doing it, and it just showed up today. The neck is in this box. We're going to do a quick unboxing of this, but the carbon fiber neck is in here. Also, while I was out at NAMM, I was introduced to Curtis Lamberton, who owns Lambertone pickups. And I have Lambertone pickups in my Jennings Navigator guitar. I have the Crema and the Grinder as a combo. They're fantastic. I love those pickups. I got a chance to meet Curtis, and I'm talking to him, telling him how much I love his pickups in my Jennings. And I told him I actually just did buy a Telecaster, and I was thinking about looking into his Telecaster pickups. He's got a set called the Blondies. He said to me, you know, out of all the pickups I make, the Telecaster Blondie pickups are my absolute favorite. So sure enough, I started looking around at those and I pulled the trigger on those. So these also came in. The upgrade that we're going to do is consisting of the Klos carbon fiber neck and the Lambertone Blondie pickups. And they're going to go into this, and it's going to revolutionize this guitar. I am going to do some playing through this before I do any upgrades. And then of course I'm going to play after I do the upgrades, and I'll have all that at the end of the video so you guys can hear the difference. But I am super excited to have a really nice guitar that is impervious to temperature and humidity, and it's going to have a major upgrade to the pickups. That's what we're doing today. Sorry for the long-winded intro, but I wanted to give you some backstory here on what we're doing and why we're doing it. So let's dive into it. All right, I've got the tele on the bench. I did go ahead and open up the Klos neck. So I didn't do the unboxing on the video, but it was wrapped up really good. Just want to give you guys an idea what this looks like. So we have 22 stainless steel frets. Just really nice looking. Flip it over for you. You can see the locking tuners. And that carbon fiber pattern in the back of the neck. This is a 12-inch radius neck. They do a few other radius necks. They do a 9.5-inch, and they do a compound 10 to 14. But I find the 12-inch is just a really comfortable, modern neck shape. And then also, as I mentioned, I have the Lambertone Blondie pickups here. So these are going to go in as well. So the first step is going to be take the strings off, remove the neck, put the carbon fiber neck on, and then we'll work on the electronics. Okay, I've got the neck off. I just want to mention a few things real quick. So Telecaster necks have a flat back that goes into the body, and Strat and Jazzmaster necks have a rounded portion that goes into the body. So Klos makes two versions. Make sure you get the right one for your guitar. This is the flat version for Telecasters. They also supply this piece here. This is just a wood jig that you can double check as you're looking at your body. You can double check the hole placement. So this is just going to go down into here into the neck pocket. And then what you're going to do is take a flashlight, look down in there, and yes, the holes are lining up. What they've said is that usually the USA and the made in Mexico Strats and Teles, the hole placement's pretty good. I mean, it's not precise, but it's pretty good, and it's good enough to mount these. Sometimes the Squire necks, the hole placement's not quite as good. So you can use this jig as a drilling template, and they actually provide a drill bit for you to use, and you can just get those holes so everything will drop in nicely. But I don't think I'm going to need to do any drilling here. Take this off, and let's just see how the neck fits in the pocket. Pick this up so you guys can see. Oops. Okay, looks like it fits really nicely. So the next step is just to screw it on. Now I'm not going to tighten these up all the way until I get all the screws in. Make sure that this neck plate can sort of center itself out. Okay, now I'm going to tighten them down, but you don't have to go crazy when you tighten these. Just make it snug. Okay. Neck is now on. Okay, with all the screws out, this should just lift right off. And you can see the neck pickup on a Tele is basically just mounted right to the pick guard. And we've got our wires that go down to the switch assembly, and then we've got our bridge pickup. So let's remove these screws now. Okay, so these saddles, I had to loosen the screws a little bit and turn them over so I could get at the screw for the bridge. So now I'm going to loosen that up. And there are some more screws underneath. So I'm going to have to take some of these saddles out, I think. Or at least loosen them up enough so I can get at those screws. Okay, so I think that did it. And you can see that bridge pickup right there mounted to the bridge. So now we're gonna remove these pickups from here. There we go. Okay. And this is the screw that had the ground lug on it. Okay. Time to take a look at the wiring. Okay, so the carbon fiber neck's installed. Now it's time to wire up these pickups. Let's talk about the pickups real quick. These are Lambertone Blondie pickups. Just want to read their description for you guys. The Blondie set offers a balanced T-style tone with enhanced clarity, warmth, and dynamic response, perfect for players who need expressive range without harshness. The bridge is slightly overwound with a custom wire pairing that gives it a bold, present lead tone that cuts in live and studio settings. The neck is crisp and soulful with more high-end than traditional tele neck pickups, making it equally suitable for rhythm and lead work. That sounds pretty awesome. So, anytime you're ready to embark on installing new pickups, you want to have some wiring diagrams. Fortunately, Lambertone Pickups on their website, they have a whole bunch of wiring diagrams for all of their pickups that they make. I went to the Telecaster section and I started reading. The first part was a description of the 3-blade Telecaster harness, the traditional Telecaster harness. It's a 3-blade switch, so position 1 is the bridge pickup, position 2 is both pickups in parallel, position 3 is the neck pickup. Traditional tele 3-blade switch. Then further down, there was another wiring diagram that said 4-blade Telecaster switch harness. And I'd never heard of that, so I started digging into it. I read what they had to say about it. So on the Lambertone site, they said a 4-blade switch design adds a 4th position to include a series connection of the neck and bridge pickup. The tone from this option is considered beefy. Imagine the cut and drive of a single coil with the thickness of a humbucker. It's not just a fancy addition, it's an extremely usable and highly recommended modification if you don't mind shifting away from a vintage style harness. So that got me thinking. I love my humbuckers, I've already said that. I've always loved hearing single coils and hearing other people play single coils, but every time I try to play single coils, they sound thin and I don't like them. So there is a 4th option. If you had a wiring harness with a 4-blade switch, you can wire a Telecaster up with 4 positions, the neck, the bridge, the neck and the bridge in parallel, and then the neck and the bridge wired in series. So if it's going to sound beefier, kind of like a humbucker in that 4th position, but still have the clarity of a single coil, I feel like I'm all about that. I want to give it a try. Here's the problem. The wiring harness that was in my Fender only had the traditional 3-blade switch. So I had to buy a new harness and a new 4-blade switch. So I started looking around, but fortunately on Lambertone's site, they actually sell these harnesses. They've partnered with 920D Custom. If you've ever looked into loaded pick guards, 920D Custom is one of the best out there. Their work is phenomenal, they come highly recommended, and it's awesome that Lambertone partnered with 920D Custom and offered these on their website. After much deliberation, I decided I'm gonna pause the project, I'm going to order this, and then when it comes in, then I'm gonna finish finish the build. So I did that. It took a little less than a week to come in. So here we are with the 920D custom 4-position switch. I'm going to walk you guys through some close-ups so you can see the difference between the harnesses from Fender and the harnesses from 920D. And then you're also going to see the pickups up close from Fender and then from Lambertone. It's pretty interesting to look at these things close up. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at these wiring harnesses. First, let's take a look at the Fender. Try to get this guy nice and close that you can see. You can see the 250K tone and volume pots that they have. There's a small cap there. The jack is nothing special. It's a very cheap looking jack. And the 3-blade switch, nothing special there either. I mean, the soldering is the wire is you know, it's okay, but you know, nothing to write home about. Now let's take a look at the 920D custom. Right off the bat, you can see the wire that they use is much thicker gauge, and just the wiring job itself that they did is fantastic. This is beautiful. Solder joints are beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the different elements here. The jack that they have is a pure tone jack. It's a really high-end jack. They don't get much better than this. People like these even better than Switchcraft. Probably one of the most sought after jacks. The cap, you can see, is much larger, and this is a 22 microfarad cap from Sprague Electric. And then the switch assembly, you can see this is the 4-position switch. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is by a company called Oak Grigsby. So really nice high-end components that they've put into this thing. And I'm just super excited. So again, just putting these side by side, you can really see the difference in quality here. Now let's take a look at the pickups. So first we have the Fender bridge pickup, and I'll pull up the Lambertone bridge pickup. You can see the wiring, again, very nice thick wire compared to the Fender. And then we'll take a look at the neck pickups as well. Again, just really nice. So without even hearing these things, you can just tell the quality that's gone into them. So I hope that was helpful, seeing these side-by-side comparisons. Now it's time to get into the actual wiring up of the new harness. As I mentioned before, I am not a country player, but I want to give you guys an idea of before and after the upgrade. So I'm using the original neck, original pickups. This is a backing track from JamTracksChannel on YouTube. I highly recommend them. It's just a country jam track in A, and I'm using the factory preset on my Line 6 Helix Stadium. This is the Nashville preset. So we're going to give it a shot, and we're going to do it with this. I'll do a couple other sounds without the backing track as well, so you can really hear things better. But let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Okay, kind of cheesy. I'm still learning some country licks, but that is the original neck, the original pickups, the original Player 2 Telecaster. Okay, so now we have the upgraded guitar. Let's run through the backing track again. Okay, I'm going to do a few sounds for you guys now without a backing track. We're going to do a few clean sounds and some sounds with more gain. The amp that I'm using right now, it's based on a Fender Tweed Champ. And that's the bridge pickup. Here's the middle position. Neck position. And since we now have a fourth position, here's the fourth position. Add a little ambience here. Neck position. Now I'm going to do bridge position with a little bit of gain. Add a little bit more gain. And then we'll add even more gain. And lastly, I'll do the bridge pickup with both the OCD and the 808 drive on. Okay, so I just want to run through these pickup settings with you guys. Now that we have this fourth position, I do want to just spend a little time on that. So you've got your bridge pickup, which is bright and it's got a tack to it. Traditional middle position. Tends to be a little softer. It's the parallel neck and bridge pickup. So the neck pickup tends to be more muted on a lot of Telecasters, and Lambertone said theirs were brighter and had some higher frequencies in them. And I would have to agree with that. It sounds nice. And then we have the series connection. It's got a little more beef to it, but it still has a little bit of that high end. So if we go back to the middle position, what I'm calling the middle position, the parallel position between the two pickups, kind of thin, just a little beefier, which is nice with some gain sounds. Of course, then the bridge is nice and bright, but it's thinner than the series connection. So I really do think I'm gonna use that series fourth position quite a bit. I do like it. Okay, so we are done. We are done with this project. It was a little more involved than I thought at first by adding in that harness with the 4-blade switch, but I'm so glad I did it. So after I put the strings on and stretched them, I did want to let you guys know that I went through and I set the action height and I set the intonation on the bridge. That's really all I had to do from a setup standpoint. So Klos had already pre-adjusted the truss rod when they built the neck, and they already slotted the nut really nicely. So the only thing I had to do was the action and the intonation. Other than that, oh, and I did set the pickup height, of course, installed pickups. So I set that. But other than that, I mean, it all was pretty easy. It all went together really easy. The neck went on easy, the pickups and the wiring harness, it all went really easy. Cannot complain at all. This was not a hard upgrade, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. It plays really nice. I just got a chance to run through my songs for tomorrow morning at church. I was going to use my Jennings guitar, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to use this new Telecaster. And I ran through all the songs and played with some different pickup settings. And yeah, it was great. It was great. So the pickups, I'm really loving these Lambertones, and I'm loving that fourth option as well to have the series pickups. But even just the neck pickup, it sounds so much better than normal tele neck pickups. I hope that came across in what I demonstrated there, but it's got this extra high-end kind of sparkle that you don't get usually on tele necks. And then also the bridge, it's just nice and it just cuts. So super happy with this, how it turned out. Cannot wait to use it tomorrow and just really start putting this thing through its paces. So thanks for watching. I know it was kind of a long one, but if you hung in here till now, I appreciate it. And I'm glad to make this kind of content. If this is something you're interested in, please like the video and consider subscribing. Would love to have you be a part of what we're doing here. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.